Okay, so what's going on, guys? I'm back. I didn't actually realise that. What are you doing? That whatever screen recorder I'm using can only do 10 minutes at a time. I didn't really look at that. Probably should have. But anyway, it cut out a little bit at the end. Just me really going through a little bit of render settings, which were things like this. Just showing you. So nothing major. So what I'm going to do, this image here is still rendering, and you can see it's kind of got this shading around it a bit more nicely. That's going to still be rendering for a little bit longer. But while that's rendering, we can jump into Photoshop, and we can kind of get the layout ready and done, so that when the image goes on, you're near enough at the end. And a good way to do that, well, the first way to do that, is go to File and New, and then change your width to 1500 pixels, and height to 500, and resolution 200. And then background contents, all of this should be kind of normal 8-bit channel RGB color. Okay. And you'll go to this. Now this is the size for a Twitter header. And at the moment I've got these rulers on. And what you do, if you just hold Control and press R on your keyboard, it kind of gets rid and brings them back. And what you can do is drag them out. And if you go towards the middle of your image, you'll see that the mouse kind of snaps into the middle. And that's actually where the dead center is, which is really important, especially when you're doing these kind of banners. You want to make sure that they look kind of symmetrical, look neat, look clean. And you can do the same for the horizontal. So that now, I didn't just make that up, did I? Okay, no. So that now is the kind of dead center of my image. And what I'm going to do, like on the other banner, I had an overlay for it, a kind of stock image, and the one I'm going to be using is this one. I found off Google. I just put in, well, apparently I put in destroyed overgrown town. I mean, things like that, or medieval stocks, anything like that. You can kind of find all these funky kind of images. I mean, this one is the one I use on that other style of banner. There's real cool images. I mean, you can do so much with these style of images. Fuck, which one was I using? Oh, tits. It was that one. Okay, so this is the image I'm going to be using. So I'm just going to copy, go into Photoshop, Control V, and it will paste it. And you want to use quite a large image, because if you use anything that's smaller than your Twitter banner and you expand it, it's going to lower the quality so much because of the pixels. So you want to find one that's preferably bigger than your Twitter header. I mean, if you go on Google, it will say like 1920 times 1810. So you know it's bigger than your Twitter banner, whereas this one is 500 by 281. So when you click on your image, just make sure you check these, the size of it. And what we're going to do, because it's quite large, we're just going to scale it down. And you want to hold Shift and drag one of the corners, and that kind of locks it in place. So no matter where you drag, it's always going to be even. And you want to make it just near enough the same size as your Twitter banner, just a little bit bigger if anything. And centered like that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave the floor here, and on these kind of backgrounds you want to kind of, well, I like to have this floor because I put like a shadow at the bottom that kind of makes it look that more 3D and a bit more in style with the image in the back. So preferably have this bottom bit. If not, you can kind of make your own way up with the lighting, things like that. But yeah, so I have this nice little background here, and what I'm going to do is first do the color correction. So here in this little tab down the bottom here, this kind of circle yin yang thing, I'm going to use vibrance first. And vibrance kind of brings out the color and darkens it, especially when you bring it all the way down. So I like to kind of have my vibrance near enough all the way up, not near enough all the way up, about 60 is quite good for this image, and then kind of lower, the saturation, bring up the vibrance lower. And what that does is, you see I've lowered the vibrance and the saturation's up, and it kind of keeps that bits of green. You don't want to do it that much, but just a little bit, because it kind of makes it look, I don't know, it gives it that cool kind of grey and white stone, but still got the colour popping out of it, which is what I kind of like in these kind of style of images, that grungy, dark, little bit of colour style of looks. Then we're going to go back to it, to our little yin yang symbol, and then go to brightness and contrast. And you see it just brings it real light, takes it real dark. Brightness, I'm just going to bring up, I don't know, about 30, and contrast on this style of image, I'm going to put to about about 50. Hasn't really done much. It's just kind of lightened up the background of it more than anything. So it just brings out this colour and light coming through the skies, which is really important when it comes onto your text. It gives it that little bit of burst. And back onto your yin yang levels. I mean, you don't always have to use levels in these kind of images. It just kind of darkens the outside a bit more, which is yeah. So I'm going to put this to about there, if that made any sense to you, like that. And it kind of you see like around the edge of this header, it's now darkened it a lot more, but the inside, the kind of middle of it, is still really nice and bright, which is what you want, because that's where your text is going to be, like near enough dead center. Back to the yin yang, go to curves, and just kind of I hold mine in the middle, and you see if I bring it all the way up to the top here, whoa, it's going to make it disgustingly bright. Bring it all the way down, it's going to make it disgustingly black. I'm just going to darken it. How am I going to lighten it? Actually, usually on these I darken them more than anything, but because it's, you know, an open sky, I'm going to, yeah, not that much, Jesus. I am going to bring the lightness. Yeah, I'm going to lighten it a bit, and then use my rubber tool, and just turn the pixels up, and actually take all. No, it's on a sharp, isn't it? Of course it is. Tits. Yeah, so I'm going to make mine brighter, and what I'm actually going to do is go to my brush tool and kind of just take away some of it, so that it's kind of just bright at the top, and that the light's kind of expanding out from the top. Like that. So now you'll see if I take away this, it's got that kind of layer of brightness at the top, which is good because it brings out that sky a bit more, and it kind of shines through this demolished cathedral. And back to this one, and the last one is exposure. Now exposure, again, really dark, really bright. You don't want to use too much, if not any exposure. I mean, just because that's not even +1 yet, and it's already just so bright. So I'm going to set mine on 0.22, just to give it that tiny bit of glow. And then offset. Offset I do not use on these, because as you see I can touch it the tiniest bit, and well, actually, I mean, you could use that. That still looks really nice, that kind of dark grunginess. Shall I use it? I'm just going to use a little bit of offset, just so it looks quite nice on this banner. So I'm going to put mine on 0.001, so literally nothing, and you can see it's already such a difference. Gamma correction. I'm going to set my gamma to about 122, and that's kind of just brought out this brightness a little bit more, and it's kind of stabilised the image. So now we've done that. How long is my recording? 8 minutes 22. Okay. If I just delete all of these, so that's your original image. I didn't delete anything, I just hid it. So that is our original image. Now if I go and highlight all of these again, that's now our image. You see, it's made it a lot more, well, darker. The colours brought out a lot more. The exposures come out, lights coming through, and it just makes the kind of background image just pop a little bit more. Like, it makes it nice to look at, and gives it that style of grungy darkness, which is what you're kind of aiming for with this style of banner. Because that's a nice image, but it's too bright. It's way too bright, and you can see everything. We don't want to see everything, so you want to just darken it, and at the same time lighten it. That made sense in my mind, so I'm sticking to that. How long am I on? 9 minutes 9. Cool. How's the render doing? Fucking slow. So once we've done that, we're going to go back onto Google Images and blood splatter. So I just use standard blood splatter. I just haven't got any stock saved on my packs or anything. This is my really old GFX pack, by the way, guys. It's real sick. I'm going to be using some of the stuff from it in a minute when I show you. I'll put the download link in the description, but I'll remind you guys at the end because you probably forget. But this video is going to end in 10 seconds until I start recording again. So I will see you in probably a second for you guys, but probably about 30 minutes for me. Bye.